maybe 2 weeks. We'll see how long this goes, but I realized that I hadn't really talked much about what I was reading this month so far, and I just finished my last read for the BookTube prize for round 2 on Sunday, and wrapping up those vlogs. So I thought I would do a little Asian readathon vlog. So for the Asian readathon, I picked out 4 books, and so far I am reading 3 of them. The first one is Song of the Silk Road by Mingmei Yip, and I am over halfway in this one, so about 100 pages left. This has such a lovely cover, and the cover is pretty much the best part of this book. This is not my typical genre, no, I shouldn't say that, because I don't really know what genre you could actually fit this into. I'm not sure if it's romance or contemporary. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this would be categorized as, but we're following Lily, and Lily goes through, she is born in Hong Kong. Her mother is pretty much a single mom raising her because her father abandons her because he has another family. And her mother works really hard to help her get through school, and she ends up going to school in New York City and living there. And when the story opens, she is the mistress of a very famous writer, and she is a budding novelist herself, and she's trying to make it, and she's struggling. She's working and trying to write her novel and struggling. And then she gets a mysterious letter that says that her long lost aunt is going to offer her $3 million if she goes to the Taklamakan Desert in China and completes all these specific tasks. And so I wanted to read this because I was interested in her adventure in the desert and her adventure in China. And those parts of the book are good enough, but the rest of this book is kind of a hot mess. There's a lot of romance and cheesy sex scenes in here. There are a lot of inappropriate terms and expressions, and there's a level of kind of superstition and spirituality that is woven in, but it doesn't really make sense with the overall narrative. So it's kind of a soup that's full of all kinds of different ingredients that don't actually go together that well. So I'm still reading it because I wanted to figure out how it ends. There's this mystery. You don't really know who her aunt was, why she's giving her this money, and why she's making her do these random tasks. And so I do want to find out what happens, but ultimately this isn't going to be my favorite book of the year, that's for sure. And then on audio, I'm listening to Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. And Stories of Your Life is the short story that the film Arrival was based on. And I'm enjoying it so far. I think I'm just over halfway. The stories are they put the science in science fiction. So I'm not super heavy on the science elements being so cerebral, and it's very intellectual, and that is interesting. And I'm interested enough in the stories to keep reading them, but I don't think that his overall style of writing is something that goes very well with my personality. My brain just starts to kind of fog over when he's going into the really scientific or mathematical calculations and things, and there's these highly intelligent people talking about math equations and different things in here, and it goes right over my head. But I like the way he plays with structure in some of the stories. He plays with perspective in some of the stories. He weaves these theories and these ideas into the stories in very intricate ways. And so I think in terms of crafting a story, I think he's quite good. Again, it's just a matter of how much he delves into the subject matter that for me is just a little overblown. And the third book that I'm reading so far for Asian Readathon is The Measure of My Powers by Jackie Kai Ellis. I just started that a few days ago, and I'm really excited because Jackie Kai Ellis is hosting some book clubs over Zoom in the next few weeks, and I signed up for one, so I'm very excited to be part of it. I think there's about 10 participants, and we chat with Jackie about her books. So far, it is an enjoyable read. She says at the beginning that this isn't really a linear representation of her life. It's more, I've read a similar book before. I'm trying to remember what the title of it was. I'll put the title here if I can't remember, but if you've read this book, you will like this memoir. So a lot of times food writers, when they're writing food memoirs, I find do this structure. So they don't give you a linear timeline. They just have a recipe in each section and then a story about their life or a time in their life that relates to this particular food dish. And so that's what this memoir is like. And Jackie grew up in a family, an extended Chinese family that all lived together in Vancouver, and they were amazing cooks, and they were out shopping for food every weekend in Chinatown, and they were making lovely things. And she also had a huge love of baking and kind of Western style, cakes and things like that. And so that was something that she always had a passion for as she was growing up. So yeah, it's very interesting so far. She went through some rough times, and she's writing really honestly and with a lot of straightforwardness, and I think that's really admirable. So that's where I am in that so far. And just in general, our week is going okay. Today is Monday. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and I had a really nice Mother's Day. So that's kind of what's going on here. I'm going to just kind of show you a little bit of the week and what's happening and what we're doing, and what I'm reading. And I will, I think, be wrapping up at least 2 of these books, and I will be starting Rue by Kim Thuy. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Probably potentially after I finish this book, or I might start something else that's not on my Asian Readathon TBR once I'm finished this one, because I do have 2 other books besides my Asian Readathon books that I wanted to get to this month, and the month always seems to go by so quickly. Anyway, that's all I want to talk to you about for now, and I'll chat again soon. friends. Today is Thursday and I just finished work for the week. Yay. And I just finished my first book of the Asian Readathon 2 days ago, Mingmei Song of the Silk Road. So I think you could tell by my earlier check-in about this book that it certainly wasn't what I was looking for in my reading experience. I'm glad that I read it because I think it certainly shared some parts of Chinese culture that I found interesting. And I think one of the things that I never regret when I try a book that might be slightly just different from my normal genre or from my normal read is that it does challenge me and it makes me think outside of the parameters of what I normally think is good or bad. I also think this suffered a little bit from trying to do too many different types of things. So be mysterious, but also be an adventure story, but also be a romance. It just had a little bit too many directions it was trying to accomplish. I will certainly pass this book on, and hopefully someone else who will enjoy it more will pick it up the next time. I am about 3/4 of the way through Stories of Your Life and Others by Chiang. And then I'm about almost halfway through the memoir, The Measure of My Powers by Ellis. And so I will probably start my 4th Asian Readathon read as soon as I'm done The Measure of My Powers. Hey everybody. So it is Monday evening and it was a long weekend here in Canada. And so I just wanted to update you on my reading, and I have read I finished 2 of the books now. So along with The Song of the Silk Road, I also finished Stories of Your Life and Others by Chiang, which I thought was good. It was a solid short story experience. I liked some more than others. Like I said, I think that his style of writing is very intellectual, and so when he's writing, he's exploring a lot of scientific ideas that kind of go over my head. But his way of looking at the world I find really interesting. The last story was called, I don't remember what it was called. I'll put the title here, but it was about beauty and this idea that you could turn off in the brain a certain receptor that would be able to rank beauty and give it a preference. So basically, if someone looked at someone's face, they could still experience attraction to that person through pheromones and other things, but they couldn't really tell if that person was physically more beautiful based on the standards of society than someone else. And so what they were hoping to do was like eliminate this idea of beauty bias and all these different things. And I thought that story was interesting. It explored a lot of interesting ideas, and I think most of Chiang's stories do that. I'm not sure if I would read any more of his work. I think I might try one other short story collection and see if the stories are more up my alley, but I have a feeling that his style of writing, which is just very science-based and is more about the ideas than developing kind of human relationships and human observations, which is kind of where I like to go when I'm reading. So I don't really think his style is completely suited to my reading tastes, but I might try another one in the future. And I'm certainly glad I read Story of Your Life, which was what Arrival was based on. I think knowing that story, it doesn't really enhance the movie to me in any way, but it certainly I like knowing the source of the film. And I think they adapted the story in a really interesting way, and they definitely humanized it a bit more. Although that story out of all of them had the most emotional impact because it is a woman, a mother, talking about her child and talking about her child growing up and experiencing her child's life along with her own. So I did feel like that story had the most emotional impact, which made me enjoy it the most out of all of them. So currently I'm about halfway, maybe a little bit over halfway through The Measure of My Powers by Jackie Kai Ellis, and I haven't started Rue yet. And that's where I am for my Asian Readathon reading. I'm also reading Emily's Quest by L.M. Montgomery, but doesn't really have anything to do with the Asian Readathon, but just so you know, that's where I am with reading right now. I'm actually, and the other thing I'm listening to is Frog Music by Emma Donoghue, which is incredible. And I'm not really that surprised because Emma Donoghue writes in a way that I just love. Hi everyone. It is Wednesday morning, and I'm going to wrap up this vlog here. I've had a bit of a weird reading span of 2 weeks. It didn't really flow as well as it did a couple weeks ago, but I've just kind of gone with it, and you know, it's fine. I completed The Measure of My Powers by Jackie Kai Ellis, and I enjoyed it. So I have finished 3 out of my 4 Asian Readathon reads, so I thought I'd stop it here. That's all for this vlog. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another video.